So today we will discuss portal vein and the portosystemic anastomosis. Okay. So first we will discuss the portal vein, its tributaries, and how it is formed. Next, so portal vein, it is a large vein which collects blood from the abdominal part of the alimentary tract, the gallbladder, pancreas, the spleen, and conveys the blood to the liver. Okay, so this is the function of portal vein. Next, so in the liver, the portal vein breaks up into sinusoids. Sinusoids are vascular channels within the liver. When you will read the histology of liver, you will see the sinusoids, okay, within the hepatic lobule. Which are these sinusoids are drained by the hepatic veins to the inferior vena cava. Hepatic veins are again draining into inferior vena cava, and it is called portal vein because its main tributary, the superior mesenteric vein, it begins in one set of capillaries in the gut, and the portal vein ends in another set of capillaries in the liver. Okay, so portal, the word portal means it starts as a capillary and it ends as a capillary. Okay, capillary plexus. That's why the name is given portal vein. Okay, so it is starting as capillaries in the gut. Main tributary is superior mesenteric vein, and another is the splenic vein. Okay, and it ends in the liver in the sinusoids of the liver. That's why the name is given portal vein. Here, this one is the portal vein have been shown here. So next. So the portal vein is about 8 centimeter long and it is formed by the union of superior mesenteric and splenic vein. See, this one is portal vein. So it is formed by union of these two veins, splenic vein and superior mesenteric vein. It is formed by the union of these two veins and it is formed behind the neck of the pancreas at the level of L2. Okay. So this is the vertebral level of formation of the portal vein, and this relation is very important. It is formed behind the neck of the pancreas. Okay, this is very important OSPI question. Portal vein can be given in your cadaver, and you have to answer all these questions: how it is formed, how it is drained, its tributaries. Like these questions will be asked. Next. Next, we go to the course. It runs upward and to the right, first behind the neck of the pancreas. See, this one is pancreas, so it is passing first behind neck of pancreas, next behind the first part of duodenum. Here is the first part of duodenum. So, portal vein is passing behind the first part of duodenum, and lastly, it is lying in the right free margin of the lesser omentum. In this part, it is lying in the right free margin of the lesser omentum. Okay, understood? Next, the blood flow in the portal vein is slow and blood of superior mesenteric vein drains into the right lobe of liver and splenic and inferior mesenteric vein drain into the left lobe of the liver, and this is called streamline flow. Okay, so here you can see this splenic vein and the superior mesenteric vein is joining to form the portal vein, and it is again dividing into two branches, right branch and left branch, for the right and left lobe of the liver. Those are physiological lobes of the liver. In dissection period today we will discuss liver, and this is inferior mesenteric vein. It is draining into this splenic vein. So here you can see superior mesenteric vein, blood from superior mesenteric vein is draining mainly into right lobe, and splenic and inferior mesenteric vein, they are draining into the left lobe. Okay. So if any pathology occurs in the right lobe or in the left lobe, so you have to find, it can come from the infection or some abscess occurs in these two lobes. The infection may come from, for right lobe it may come from the gut, mainly small intestine and large intestine like this. And if infection occurs in the left lobe, it can come from the spleen or inferior mesenteric vein. Okay. So next, so we are dividing the portal vein into three parts: intraduodenal part, retroduodenal part, and supraduodenal part. Infraduodenal means it lies below the first part of duodenum, this part. Here it is lying posterior to the neck of the pancreas. Retroduodenal means it lies posterior to first part of the duodenum, and supraduodenal is lying above the first part of the duodenum. Here it is lying within the right free margin of the lesser omentum. So you practice a schematic diagram like this for portal vein. Portal vein is also an important short note, okay? And portosystemic anastomosis, it is very important short note, also can come as a long question. Portosystemic anastomosis, and these clinical aspects, hemorrhoids, esophageal varices, all these are important clinical questions, okay? Why it occurs, which veins are anastomosing at these regions, those are very important questions. And after the supraduodenal part, it has a intrahepatic course up to it reaches up to the level of the sinusoids. Okay, understood? Next, the next we go to the termination. The vein ends at the right end of the porta hepatis by dividing into these two branches, right branch and left branch, and these enter into the liver. See here the two branches, right branch and left branch, entering into the liver. Next we go to relations of these three parts: infraduodenal, retroduodenal and supraduodenal part. So for infraduodenal part, here anterior to the vein lies the neck of the pancreas, posterior to the vein lies the inferior vena cava. And retroduodenal part, this is retroduodenal part, anteriorly lies the first part of the duodenum, the bile duct and gastroduodenal artery, and posterior to it lies the inferior vena cava. Next we go to supraduodenal part. Anterior to this part, here is the supraduodenal part. Anteriorly lies the hepatic artery and bile duct, and posteriorly lies the inferior vena cava. So for all this part, inferior vena cava lies in posterior relation to the vein. Okay, understood? Next, after these three parts, we go to the intrahepatic course. After entering into the liver, the right and left branch divides and redivides along the hepatic artery to end ultimately in the hepatic sinusoids. Hepatic sinusoids are vascular channels. Okay. And in the hepatic sinusoids, the portal venous blood mixes with the hepatic arterial blood. Okay, so liver gets its blood supply 80% from portal vein, 20% from the hepatic artery. Okay, understood? Next, we go to the branches. So portal vein was dividing into right branch and left branch. The right branch is shorter and wider than the left branch, and it receives the cystic vein. See, this one is cystic vein is draining into this right branch, and it enters the right lobe of the liver. And the left branch, it is longer and narrower, this one, then the right branch, enters the left lobe of the liver and receives the paraumbilical veins. Paraumbilical veins are coming from the umbilical region. Okay, understood? Next. Next we go to the tributaries. Portal vein receives these following veins: left gastric vein, right gastric vein, superior pancreatico-duodenal vein. Here you can see this one is left gastric vein, here is the right gastric vein, this is superior pancreatico-duodenal vein, here is cystic vein, it is draining into right branch, and paraumbilical veins are draining into this left branch. Okay, and you can see the esophageal veins which are responsible for the esophageal varices. So these are also draining into the left gastric vein, and here you can see the inferior mesenteric vein that is also draining into splenic vein, which is a formative tributary of the portal vein. So all these are tributary of the portal vein. This is very frequently asked question, tributaries of the portal vein. left gastric vein, right gastric vein, superior pancreatic duodenal vein, cystic vein in the right branch and paraumbilical vein in the left branch. Okay. Next we go to photosystemic anastomosis. This is very very important, very frequently asked in your viva, very important long question for theory. You practice schematic diagram and which veins are anastomosis you must remember. And very important, explain why questions. Okay. Hemorrhoids and the esophageal varices, all these are important, explain why questions. So, portosystemic communication or portacaval anastomosis, these conditions form important routes of collateral circulation in portal obstruction. Okay. Next. Next we go to portal hypertension. What occurs in portal hypertension? Portal hypertension, it is defined as increase in blood pressure in the veins of the portal system, and it is caused by obstruction in the liver. Where obstruction occurs, obstruction within the liver occurs maybe due to cirrhosis or thrombophlebitis. Okay, cirrhosis means there is changes in hepatic parenchyma, and thrombophlebitis means there is clot formation within the veins, causing enlargement of the collateral veins, and there will be splenomegaly. It is caused by, so these are the two main causes. Intrahepatic cause is liver cirrhosis, extrahepatic cause is thrombosis of the portal vein. These are the two main cause of portal hypertension. Next. अच्छा आगे जाओ तो. Okay, next. Okay, so what are the consequences of portal hypertension? These are important. Esophageal varices. If this varices rupture, there will be hematemesis, blood vomiting. You patient will vomit fresh blood, okay, in esophageal varices. And in case of gastric ulcer also there will be blood vomiting, but here you will get clotted blood. Okay, it will not be fresh blood because blood is also always reacting with the gastric acid here in case of gastric ulcer bleeding. Okay, but if the bleeding is coming from esophagus, there will be fresh blood, it is not reacting with acid or anything. So that's how you differentiate. Next is caput medusa. There is formation of tortuous venous structures around the umbilicus. Okay, that is known as caput medusa. We'll see pictures. Hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids are piles. Okay, hemorrhoids are external hemorrhoids, internal hemorrhoids. Okay, lying around the anal canal. If it is above the Hilton's line, then it is internal hemorrhoid. If it is below the Hilton's line, it will be external hemorrhoid. Okay. In internal hemorrhoid, the bleeding will be painless bleeding. Okay, but in external hemorrhoids, there will be painful bleeding because of the somatic supply, okay, cutaneous supply. For internal hemorrhoid, this is autonomic supply, so there will be no pain. Next is ascites. Ascites can also occur, and splenomegaly occurs. These two are symptoms of portal hypertension. Next. So see the esophageal varices. See, this is, we have cut open the esophagus and stomach. So at the lower end of esophagus, you can see these dilated veins. Okay, in endoscopic view, you will see like this. You can see these dilated veins, and they can bleed easily. Okay, so patient typically presents with hematemesis and black tarry stool. Okay, so some blood will come through the mouth, some blood will go inside and come through the stool. That will be digested blood, that will be black tarry stool. That means it is called as melena. Okay, and it can be visualized using esophagogastroduodenoscope or endoscopy. In endoscopic view, you will see like this. Okay, so here the anastomosing veins are the esophageal veins which are draining into the left gastric veins. Okay, next. Next we go to the caput medusa. Paraumbilical anastomosis occurs in caput medusa. There will be, this is umbilicus, so around the umbilicus you will see tortuous vein radiating from the umbilicus. And here the portal vein from portal system is the paraumbilical vein, okay, which was going to drain into the left branch of the portal vein. And cava, for systemic or caval system, the veins are the superficial veins, superior and inferior epigastric veins. Superficial epigastric, superior and inferior epigastric veins. They are anastomosis with the paraumbilical vein around the umbilicus here. Okay, so this paraumbilical vein is going to drain into the left branch of the portal vein, and they were coming from the caval system, epigastric vein, superficial epigastric and superior epigastric, coming from the iliac veins, external iliac branch of extra. This is branch of superficial epigastric was branch from femoral vein, superior epigastric was branch from the external iliac vein. So that's how the anastomosis occurs in caput medusa. Next we go to the hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids are painful swollen pains in the lower portion of the rectum or anus. See, these are the dilated veins. We have cut open the rectum. Okay, so here there will be hematochezia or fresh blood. Here there will be fresh blood during defecation. Okay, in esophageal varices, fresh blood comes out through mouth. Hematemesis, here will be hematochezia. These terms are used in clinics. Okay, so you have to remember these terms. Hematochezia means fresh blood through the stool. And in gastric ulcer and esophageal varices, there will be digested blood through the stool. Okay, black tarry stool, melena. Next, Next is ascites. Ascites is accumulation of fluid in the peritoneal cavity. This occurs due to retroperitoneal portocaval anastomosis. Here the visceral veins of Rettius, which is portal system, and retroperitoneal parietal veins are anastomosing in the posterior abdominal wall here. Colic vein and retroperitoneal vein, all these are anastomosing. Next, how will you treat this portocaval? How will you treat these varices in case of portal hypertension? You may do band ligation or sclerotherapy, or you may establish a portosystemic shunt or TIPSS, transtubular intrahepatic portosystemic shunting. Okay, so these are the treatment methods for portal hypertension. Next. So in band ligation, a small band is applied to the base of the varix, stopping the blood supply to the varix, and it will shrink and die within a few days, and the shriveled tissue along with the band will fall off during normal peristaltic movements. Okay. So here the banded varix have been shown here. So band ligation. Here the band has been put. Here there is the band. Okay, so blood supply will stop and it will gradually shrink. Next is sclerotherapy. A solution of sodium morhuate and ethanolamine oleate is introduced into the varix. This solution is injected into the varix through the endoscope. Intravaricially to obliterate the varix, and paravaricially induce some mucus fibrosis. Okay, so that the blood supply can stop. So you have to inject the fluid, this solution formed by these two elements into the inside the varix and also around the varix. So this is known as sclerotherapy. This is very popular therapy. Band ligation is not that much done. Sclerotherapy is very frequently done therapy. Next is portosystemic shunts. Okay, these are mainly done in case of heavy bleeding. Okay, or other treatments. If other treatments are not possible, in that case, these shunting methods are done. So, a common method for reducing portal hypertension is to divert the blood from the portal venous system to the systemic venous system by creating a communication between the hepatic portal vein and the inferior vena cava. And another way of reducing portal pressure is to join the splenic vein to the left renal vein. Okay, see here um, after splenectomy it is done. So splenorenal anastomosis, this is known as splenorenal anastomotic shunt. Here you can see this is portal vein formed by superior mesenteric vein and splenic vein, and here splenectomy has been done, spleen has been removed, and splenic have been anastomosed. Splenic vein is anastomosed with the left renal vein, that is known as splenorenal anastomosis. And in these two cases, the portal vein is directly anastomosed with the inferior vena cava to form the portosystemic shunts. Here it is end to side anastomosis, that means in the middle part portal vein is cut and the two ends are joined with the inferior vena cava. And here side to side anastomosis, some part of the wall of the portal vein is cut and some part of IVC is cut, and these two are stitched together. Okay, so that there will be connection of blood in between the two. So that's how the portosystemic shunts are done. Next is TIPSS, transjugular intrahepatic portosystemic shunting. It is an artificial channel within the liver that establishes communication between the inflow portal vein and the outflow hepatic vein. And this procedure is done by catheterization through the right hepatic vein via the internal jugular vein. Catheter is introduced through the neck via the internal jugular vein, and it will reach up to this right branch of the portal vein. You will place the shunt here and then come out. Okay, so that's how done transjugular intrahepatic portosystemic shunting. Okay, understood? Next. So, what is the normal pressure? Normal pressure of portal vein, all these are important for your MCQs, and when you will call it a portal hypertension. So, portal pressure, normal pressure in the portal vein is about 5 to 15 millimeter of Hg, and it is measured by splenic puncture. Portal hypertension pressure is above the 40 millimeter of Hg. And what are the causes? These are the main causes of portal hypertension. In cirrhosis of liver, Banti's disease, that is congestive splenomegaly, thrombosis of portal vein. And effects of portal hypertension is congestive splenomegaly and ascites. These two are main symptoms of portal hypertension. And collateral circulations through portosystemic communication, they form these symptoms: caput medusa around the umbilicus, esophageal varices at the lower end of esophagus, and hemorrhoids in the anal canal. In your medicine, you will see cases of cirrhosis of liver, and all these signs you will see in these patients. You have to elicit. Next. So these are the where the portosystemic anastomosis occurs. It occurs at the abdominal part of the esophagus, which structures are anastomosing. Some esophageal veins drain into the left gastric vein into the portal vein, and some esophageal vein drain into hemiazygous vein through vena azygos into the superior vena cava. And what is the clinical aspect? In liver cirrhosis, this tributaries anastomos give rise to esophageal varices, and these varices may rupture to cause hematemesis. Okay, you have seen pictures of esophageal varices. Now, around the umbilicus, a few paraumbilical veins run along the ligamentum teres. Ligamentum teres is one ligament of the liver, and left branch of the portal vein. Veins around the umbilicus drain via superior inferior epigastric vein into the superior inferior vena cava respectively. In cirrhosis of liver, paraumbilical veins open up to transfer portal venous blood into the systemic circulation and result in caput medusa. Next, around the anal canal, superior rectal vein continues up as the inferior mesenteric vein and which drains into the portal vein. and the middle and inferior rectal vein drained into the inferior vena cava. These are systemic veins. So liver cirrhosis causes anastomosis between superior rectal and other rectal veins, and these anastomosing veins results in piles or hemorrhoids. Now, another areas where the portosystemic anastomosis occurring are these three another areas: bare area of the liver, veins of ascending and descending colon, and patent ductus venosus of the liver. The bare area of the liver, here the central veins and sublobular veins are part of portal circulation, and intercostal veins and phrenic veins end in the systemic circulation. And there is some anastomosis between portal and systemic veins. It is not that much significant. Next is veins of ascending, descending colon. Veins of colon end in the portal circulation, and veins of posterior abdominal wall end in the systemic veins. And there is some anastomosis between these two sets of tributaries, and these may get injured in procedures done in these areas. Next is patent ductus venosus of liver. It joins the left branch of portal vein to the inferior vena cava, and it may accompanied by other congenital anomalies. Next. Okay, so sites of these have been shown. So this is the esophageal varices, location of esophageal varices. Esophageal veins are draining into the left gastric vein, which is tributary of the portal vein. Okay, so here esophageal veins are the systemic veins anastomosing with the left gastric vein, portal system. And this some of the esophageal veins are draining into this azygous system of veins here. This is going to drain into systemic circulation. Next. Next, in the caput medusa, the portal system is the paraumbilical veins. Okay, these are the paraumbilical veins, and systemic veins are coming from the paraumbilical veins run along the ligamentum teres and left branch of portal vein, and veins around the umbilicus are the superior inferior epigastric vein and superficial epigastric vein. All these are draining into the inferior vena cava or systemic system. So, if dilatation occurs, there will be caput medusa like this. Next. Next is piles or hemorrhoid. This is the location of the piles. You can see this hanging part. So here the inferior mesenteric vein, this is a part of portal system, is draining into anastomosing with the middle and inferior rectal vein. Those are part of the systemic veins. Okay. So superior rectal vein continues as inferior mesenteric vein draining into splenic vein, which is formative tributary of portal vein. So portal system, and this middle and inferior rectal vein draining into inferior vena cava. So systemic system. Next. So these three areas are important sites of anastomosis: lower end of esophagus, around umbilicus, and in the anal canal. Next. So lower end of esophagus, portal vein is left gastric, systemic vein is esophageal vein. Lower end of rectum, superior rectal is portal system, middle and inferior rectal are systemic cell. Around the umbilicus, paraumbilical vein is portal system. Above there is superior epigastric and lateral thoracic. Below there is superficial epigastric, inferior epigastric, and from the sides posterior intercostal and lumbar veins. Okay, 6 veins are there in the systemic center. And these are the other areas where the portosystemic anastomosis occurs. In the posterior abdominal wall, there is anastomosis between splenic vein and left renal vein. In the bare area of the liver, there is anastomosis of portal radicals with the diaphragmatic veins, and falciform ligament, there is anastomosis between paraumbilical vein with the diaphragmatic vein, and in the ligamentum venosum, here is left branch of portal vein anastomosing with the inferior vena cava through the small veins within the ligamentum venosum. Okay, understood? So all these are areas of portosystemic anastomosis. These three areas you must have to write down, and other areas you also have to remember. Okay? So the sites have been shown. This is umbilicus, here lower end of esophagus, bare area of the liver, posterior abdominal wall, anal canal. Okay, sites of photosystemic anastomosis. Next, this diagram is very complicated. You may practice this. At the bare area of the liver, this is near the umbilicus. Here is in the posterior abdominal wall, and here is this inferior mesenteric vein is draining into the splenic vein. Here is around the anal canal. Here is in the lower end of the esophagus. This diagram shows all the areas of photosystemic anastomosis. Next, so lower end of esophagus, caval system is esophageal tributaries of hemiazygous vein. Portal system is esophageal tributaries of left gastric vein. Clinical effect in portal hypertension is esophageal varices. So this chart is important. This chart you remember. Okay. Umbilicus, around the umbilicus, veins of anterior abdominal wall, 6 veins we have seen in the previous list. Portal vein is parambilical vein, tributary of left branch of portal vein. And in portal hypertension, it forms caput medusa. At lower end of rectum and anal canal, middle and inferior rectal vein, it is the it is caval system or systemic system. Portal vein is superior rectal vein. Anastomose to form anorectal varices and internal hemorrhoids. Okay, next. Next, in the posterior abdominal wall, caval system is left renal vein, veins of posterior abdominal wall. Portal system is splenic vein, veins of retroperitoneal organs like duodenum, ascending and descending colon. In the bare area of liver, caval system is diaphragmatic veins, portal system is hepatic branch of portal vein. In liver, there is patent ductus venosus, it is rare, and left branch of portal vein. Ductus venosus remains patent in fetus. After birth, it generally sclerosed. Okay, but in some patient, if they remain patent, then there will be direct shunting, photosystemic shunting. Posterior wall of vagina, vaginal venous plexus is systemic vein, superior rectal vein, portals. Within the falciform ligament, diaphragmatic vein, which is caval system, anastomose with the paraumbilical vein of portal system. Next, so in portal hypertension, the pressure is more than 12 millimeter of Hg or more than 40 millimeter of water, and it causes, these are the causes. Pre-hepatic cause is thrombosis of portal vein, hepatic cause is cirrhosis, post-hepatic is Budd-Chiari syndrome. These are the main causes, and effects are the splenomegaly, ascites, collateral circulation through sites of photosystemic anastomosis. Next. Here the pictures is showing the internal hemorrhoid or piles here. It is above this Hilton's line, okay? And this is external hemorrhoid below the Hilton's line. Next, this is caput medusa, okay? Paraumbilical vein anastomosing with the veins of anterior abdominal wall. Next, esophageal varices like this you will see under the endoscope. Okay, so these are the dilated veins at the lower end of the esophagus. Okay, understood? Next. Okay, that's all. Okay, so you prepare photosystemic anastomosis as a long question. Very, very important which veins are involved. Okay, it comes as long question or part of it can come as a explain why question. And you prepare a portal vein as a short note. Okay, understood?